Hey guys, Paul here from Running Injury Free Revolution, and I just wanted to go through today just a little bit of information about your trigger points, because most runners probably have a bit of a general concept of their muscles. We want you to really think about it very specifically. I always think about muscles in their locking mechanisms, and one of your primary locking mechanisms of a muscle are your knots or your trigger points. So basically, you've got your knots in your shoulders, you know, those tight spots in your shoulders. They're actually trigger points. They're called myofascial trigger points, and they're really interesting to understand because they behave in a very specific way. And as a runner, you want to understand exactly what they're doing because you want to control them, and you don't want them to start controlling what you can and can't do as a runner. So probably the first thing is to understand is that you've got a map of these points, and that's why we can come up and just find point. We can find them in like 2 seconds flat because I work with that map all day, every day, and I've used it for many years. But you want to start to get good at understanding that on yourself as well. So probably number one, start to think about your map, and we'll really try and help you with that. The other thing is to understand how they behave. And a trigger point, we've got a few different types of trigger points, and probably go through just a couple today. The first is what you call a latent trigger point, and that's basically a point that you wouldn't even know it exists, except if I came and pushed on it. And basically they're sitting in there, so they're just kind of sitting in there like a time bomb. So if I find my little tip post in here, I can feel that point now. Sometimes you can feel its referral pattern when you palpate it. Sometimes you can't, doesn't matter. But what a latent point will do is it'll just kind of start to get tighter and tighter and tighter, and then it'll start to cause your mechanical issues. So as a runner, it'll start to fatigue a muscle quicker, it'll start to inhibit a muscle, and then at some point it will start to it'll cause pain. So again, what you'll notice is you have little niggles, little shifting pains. Very commonly, they're what we call myofascial pain, trigger point pain. So you want to be aware of that, because again, if you think they're getting tight, you want to get in and free them up, and you want to do it from an injury prevention perspective, but also a performance perspective as well. Endurance is a real key. So latent points. The other thing to understand is the referral patterns of a trigger point, and well, there's a million of them. We had a lady just the other day where we actually showed her a couple of points through tip post, and she was getting that pain right down into sort of heel and into the foot. So sometimes when they're sensitive, you'll actually sort of see those little pain patterns come up. If you have a push on a point and the pain pattern does come up, you can start to almost store that in your memory banks, because if you get that sensation as a runner, you want to start to tackle it before it becomes an issue as well. The other thing to understand are your satellite trigger points, and what they are is basically if you get pain, like say from a trigger point in a back, sometimes what it will do is it will sensitize the muscles in its pain referral zone. So say you're thinking about a gluteus minimus point that can refer pain sort of laterally and down the leg, or behind the knee, behind the thigh, and then down into the calf. Very commonly you can tackle that one point, but it will also make the points in its pain referral zone sensitive as well. So you can start to understand that and start to tackle it almost as a trail of tightness, and that's a real key for you as well. So yeah, probably start to understand trigger points. They're fascinating things, and at the higher and higher levels of your performance, they start to become, it's an art/science that you want to get very good at as an individual. So yeah, trigger pointing is your first way of releasing muscles. Always remember, puffy, swollen, warm, red, inflamed, don't ever touch it. Don't ever touch circulation either, your pulses. Don't touch. So a few little things that you should be aware of, but then you want to understand how to use other strategies to release them as well. And we've got contract, relax that we've shown before. There's a number of different strategies, so you can start to put them all together to really improve your running. So guys, I hope this is an interesting one for you. It's probably at the heart of a lot of different things. Start to understand your trigger points. I'll start to show you their pain patterns, their maps, and you get to control your system rather than repetitive stuff starting to put you out. So guys, I'm Paul from Running Injury Free Revolution. You can check us out at rifrev.com.